Mike, and he runs the place. We're at, I just emailed Sean Hannity and told him where I was staying.
All right.
Yeah, I don't know if him or Lauren is going to say anything, but hey, Sean, I've been listening to you impersonating Clinton.
We do fundraisers. Vice President Cheney has been here and had events. Vice President Quayle has been here and had events. The night before, the Sunday before the election that McCain ran, Charlie Gibson from ABC News interviewed him in our guest house down there, and he spent the night here. If you're going to win election, you have to come through here. And if you don't come through here, there's no way you can win a Republican election in the state of Ohio.
Really?
Absolutely.
That's what they say.
Look where I'm at, but I'm not running for president. I'm one of the few not running for president. Speaker? No, I'm not interested in that either.
Actually,
no, swear.
we just had Kevin McCarthy here probably a month ago.
Really?
Yeah.
This one's for Kevin McCarthy. You were here a week ago?
A month ago.
A month ago, staying at the Spread Eagle Tavern, where all good Republican, conservative Republicans stay.
Absolutely.
I'm going to sit.
We have to clarify that conservative part for sure.
Yeah, we got to define what conservative is for him. Smaller, non-intrusive, fiscally responsible, constitutional government. And I just rode 260 some miles on a bicycle along with walking to tell you that, Kevin. Good luck on your speakership application.
Do you think you'll get it?
I have no idea. I'm not in the mix.
Yeah,
I like him. He's a nice guy, but I'm a little more conservative than he is.
Well, the speech he gave here that night, I could tell you, was one of the most conservative speeches I've heard in the 2 years I've been employed here. And
Do we have a recording of it?
There may be. I'm not sure.
I can blackmail McCarthy.
And he said, in his opinion, Washington's a little broke, and we need to fix it.
A little broke?
And he said that hopefully the leader that gets elected in this election is a man like Abraham Lincoln that's not afraid to buck both parties and do what's right for our country.
Well, I'm not there, though.
So, I understand
I got unelected. They
You'll
sold
be there
out
soon
for the
enough.
dollar.
You'll be there soon enough.
You think? Oh,
We hope so.
I don't know. There's benefits to being home. Like, I don't have the showers often.
That's true. That's true.
So
You probably don't have a honey-do list.
Yes, well, I've completed that pretty much, and that's why, I got most of that honey-do list completed. And I said, now's the time. I'm fed up with, the Washington's ignoring the fact that we had 300,000 veterans die waiting for VA health care. We have 600,000 still waiting, and we have 120 veterans on average that die from suicide every week. We lose more soldiers to suicide than we do in combat.
Absolutely.
That's outrageous. That's insane. I don't believe it.
We're not doing anything to help them.
That's right. It's
Nothing.
a shame. And so
I'm a veteran, so let me thank you.
so what branch?
Navy.
Oh, I don't know about Navy. Welcome, Navy.
Thanks.
And we could.
What branch were you in?
Army.
Army. My son just got out of the Army recently. So.
Okay. Well, Well, I was going to tell you that we could have used the Navy yesterday.
Why?
In where was that? Where was that?
That was in it wasn't
The downpour.
it was Canton.
Canton.
Oh yeah, it did rain
Just
heavily
East
in Canton
Canton,
yesterday.
We got a nice shot of him riding the bike on the sidewalk and a car coming through.
Oh
and
man.
Oh no.
I was drenched. I'll show it to you. I got it. I got it on my can.
he was already soaked, but
That's awesome.
And the water ran down and filled these boots with water. And when I took them off, literally water came out of them.
Oh my goodness.
And then that car went by, and I think he knew it didn't matter.
Absolutely.
And he's been, how long have we been on the road now?
2 weeks solid.
He's been putting up with me for 2 weeks, so he deserves.
It's nice to get a little break.
I bet it is. I bet it is.
He needs the break.
Our executive
This
chef.
is our chef.
How are you, sir?
Nice coming.
How are you? Nice to meet you.
Mike?
Nice to meet you.
Go.
Hey, Mr. Bentivolio.
Yeah, come in here. And
I've been getting
the Dolly Madison room.
You did. Did you see the other one?
Yes.
Lincoln? Okay.
This is my favorite suite.
Oh yeah.
Because of the angles.
You know,
Oh yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. I'm big on angled ceilings. And you know what? I want to be able to tell Karen about this so that we're going to come back here for a weekend or something.
Oh, she'd love it.
Just, you know, yeah, this is the place to come, I'm telling you.
I'm gonna get that dresser.
What do you think of the place?
I like it. It's very, well, see, before I became congressman, I was an English history teacher.
Oh, well then
And I taught the radical writers of the late 18th century, like Thomas Jefferson,
Right.
Patrick Henry.
So
Thomas
this is
Paine.
right in your wheelhouse.
Exactly. This is like they sent us to what is it, Williamsburg, and you know, that was like catch me out for me. That was American history, and here we are, a place where Abraham Lincoln gave a speech in one of these rooms. Like,
I just left it
Yeah.
downstairs, I think.
No.
right on this
It's in the
floor.
next bedroom
Oh,
over.
okay, there we go. And then did you take a picture, David, of like their dining area?
We've got 9 of them, believe it or not.
9 dining areas?
9 dining.
Dining rooms on 3 floors.
Holy cow, well I got news for you. It's a 5-star restaurant, I met the chef. I'm going to critique the food. He's going to make me a special meal, salad with some steak strips, I guess, which is, okay. So, yeah, if all those who see it, if you happen to come to, you ready? Hanoverton, Ohio, this is the place to be. You really got to be here. If you drive through it, you're making a big mistake. Take it from me. The most honest, most transparent congressman ever in Washington, D.C. I don't know if that says a lot.
This is our Lincoln Suite. And in 1861, President Lincoln stood right in front of this fireplace and delivered a speech to this town.
Oh my gosh.
In the
Wow.
1800s, these doors would open up and there was a grand ballroom behind it.
No kidding.
And not restrooms or any of the stuff that's currently built in there. And so they crammed the town folk into there. They opened the doors, he stood right there and delivered a speech.
Wow.
Now, and then on top of that, here's a ticket to the Ford Theater the night that President Lincoln was assassinated.
No kidding.
Pretty amazing, huh?
It really is.
It's almost like being in the Lincoln room in the White House.
Uh-huh. This is, and here's his photo here. This is, oh, look at this bath. Oh my gosh. Oh, this is gorgeous.
Yeah, you think he'll like?
This is great. Old style bathtub there.
Beautiful clawfoot tub.
Wow.
Now the interesting thing about this room, in 1868 this was 2 rooms. It was split by a wall. And the free and accepted Masons were chartered right here in these rooms, and for 25 plus years handled all their business. The Sandy Valley Order right here.
Wow. The Mason, Freemason?
Free and accepted, yeah.
Yeah.
The Freemasons, the Sandy Valley Order.
I still haven't figured out what the Masons are.
Because of this job, I've done some researching on them, and it's kind of a funny story. One day I was giving a tour, and I told some folks, I says, well, the free and accepted Masons were chartered here. I said, I'd love to tell you a bunch about them, but they're a secret society, and so I can't really tell you anything about it. Everything I find out, it's a secret.
Yeah, exactly.
And this guy says, we are not. And I says, excuse me? He says, I'm a Mason. We're not a secret society. I said, you're not? Well, then you can clear up the whole mystique for me. What exactly are you? He says, we're a society of secrets. So, yeah.
Okay, that works.
This is our most popular suite. This is our haunted suite.
The haunted suite?
Yes.
What do you got, Abe Lincoln walking around?
No, we're actually haunted by 3 ghosts. We're haunted by the original owner's youngest daughter. She committed suicide from this room. She jumped out that window and hung herself. But she was heartbroken.
Over what?
Her fiance, one day she was at dinner, and they lived in New York City. She was an aspiring artist, and her fiance was an aspiring actor. And they were at dinner one night, and he excused himself from the dinner to go to the restroom and never returned. And so it broke her heart. She came home, and after several years of solitude in this room, one night she went completely insane, tied her sheets together, tied them to the bed, and jumped out that window, and they found her there the next morning.
Oh, man.
She is actually a very nice spirit. She saved a man's life in this room.
Really?
2 years ago.
Well,
We had a gas leak in this fireplace. She woke him up, pulled him up out of bed, woke him up. He came downstairs, told us that she woke him up. We laughed, said, oh, you met Olivina. And
Olivina.
Olivina's her name.
Sounds like a very nice name.
Olivina Nichols. And
Olivina Nichols.
so if you hear anything in the night, just tell Olivina you want to sleep.
Okay.
But she's literally, he came downstairs. The manager followed him up here. They smelled the gas. They called the fire department. The fire department came out and shut us down. The next day, the gas company came, went through the whole building. There was a gas leak in this fireplace. So not only did she wake him up and save his life,
Saved the whole place.
she saved the whole place.
Well, thank her for that.
Yes. And where the other 2 ghosts were haunted by is an 8-year-old little girl. She was a neighbor girl that actually burnt to death in 1870.
Oh, that's terrible.
Well, that was actually one of the leading causes of death for women in the 1800s was by fire.
Really?
Because the only way to cook was over an open flame. And they all wore either wool or cotton dresses that were all the way to the ground.
Oh.
And everyone's seen a hot ember pop off of a log.
Yeah.
You can imagine when it landed, it was long before Smokey the Bear and stop, drop, and roll. So they would again be engulfed in flames and die very quickly.
Oh,
And so she haunts us. She runs through the building playing on the steps. She's cute, cute as button. I've seen her. She is happy. She doesn't know she's dead, in my opinion. And then we're also haunted by a slave that we don't know much about other than he's a really big man.
Yeah.
I've seen him. He scared us.
Big Bad John.
Yeah. Well, he put you in mind when I seen him of John Coffey from the Green Mile. You know how
Yeah.
John Coffey towered over them guards?
Yeah.
That guy towered over me like that too.
Wow. And
Which I'm a little guy, so I'm
yeah.
gonna tower over.
So so you have this slave, a little girl, and
Olivina.
Olivina.
She's a woman, probably in her late 20s.
Okay. Well, before I go to sleep, I'm going to say hello to
You'd be more than
watch
welcome
over
to.
me.
They won't bother you, I promise you.
Okay.
Your room is one of the rooms we almost never have anything happen in.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, good.
This
Almost
room-
never. I don't know if I
This
like
room,
that.
well, the only thing I know of that has happened, people have seen the little girl playing in front of the fireplace in your room.
Oh.
Other than that, nothing
Okay.
else. In this room,
Well, I
Olivina pulls the covers off folks. She pulls them out of bed and wakes them up. She'll hide their electronics.
Really?
Yeah, in the Lincoln Suite, she turns on the bath at 3 a.m. and fills it up with hot, steamy water and shuts it off.
My goodness.
Yeah.
This is interesting. Now, Hanoverton, you know, for the life of me, I'm thinking, I've heard that name before. And Hanoverton is famous during the Civil War, too, isn't it?
The general that made it the furthest north, General Morgan's Raiders,
Yeah.
he tore up Columbiana County, and he made it about 2 miles from here.
Okay.
And so, yeah. But Hanoverton that's famous in the Civil War wasn't in Ohio. I believe it was down in the south.
Oh, another Hanover.
Yeah, and at that time we were Hanover, Ohio.
Oh.
It was after the U.S. Postal Service came around, they realized there was another Hanover, Ohio. And it was located down by Newark, which is not far from Columbus. They were established in 1812. We were established in 1813. So they got to keep their name. We had to adopt a new one.
Oh.
So they threw tongue on the end and made it Hanoverton.
Okay. So, ready to move to the next one? Yeah.
I would bet raccoon probably. What?
Frogs.
No kidding.
You never see them in the car, but I do on the bike.
Yeah, I bet you do. Probably see them all over.
Oh, those things squished all over the place. I'm going, holy cow. I haven't seen 50 raccoons alongside the road. I've seen a lot of possum bones and raccoon bones and deer bones, but I'll tell you what, there were more frogs than any other creature on the roads.
Here's the Wall of Fame. Everybody on that wall's been here and stayed with the exception of President Reagan.
Okay. Exception?
With the exception of President Reagan. This place reopened October 2nd, 1990. And by then, President Reagan had started to show signs of dementia.
Oh.
And Nancy didn't allow him to travel. She didn't want him to seem unpresidential. So he had a standing invitation,
Yeah.
but he never made it.
Well,
and of all of them, that's the guy I would have liked to have had a beer with.
Yeah.
Tom DeLuise, oh,
Yeah.
he cracked me up.
Yep, he's a funny guy. Is he still around?
No, I believe he's gone now.
Who's that guy?
He's a local congressman.
Oh, okay. Jack Kemp, okay.
We have been, as we've been traveling, finding out how few people know who their congressman is.
Oh,
yeah.
And that's one of the things that Kerry's been doing is
See, I don't recognize
That's-
him though.
That's actually kind of what keeps the perpetual problem in Washington going, is people
Exactly.
don't have a clue what the hell's going on.
right.
They only know what's on CNN or
They're starting to wake
MSNBC
up.
or Fox News.
Mhm.
They don't ever really investigate or know anything themselves.
Absolutely.
Pretty boy Floyd's death mask right there.
I was just checking it.
He was killed on a farm not far from here, just north of East Liverpool. I think October 22nd, 1934. Of course, he was America's most wanted criminal at the
Yeah.
time.
Did he ever stay here?
No, no.
This guy. Bob Yeah.
McEwen.
Wow.
This is our monumental, I guess you could call it, underground railroad tunnel
Oh, yeah.
for the town's history.
Oh yeah.
Look at this. Yeah, it goes around too. This be a great wine cellar. Too.
Oh yeah, we have 5 of them down here
Oh.
actually. Every brick in this basement
Yeah. Oh,
came
we're in
from
the basement?
Yeah, came from the oldest brick home in Columbiana County. This home right here. And it was Gideon Gaver's home, and he actually died in that home in 1827. Well, it was one of the buildings they bought to restore this place, and they tore it down. They cleaned all the brick from the mortar, or the mortar from the bricks.
Yeah.
Then they took all the brick back to they own a brick and tile company. They refired all the brick in the kilns to reincorporate their structural integrity, and then they brought them here and built this basement with it.
Wow.
Really in luck. I know you're going to want pictures of this room right here.
Gideon Gaver's.
Gideon Gaver's Rathskeller, which Rathskeller is a German word that means wine cellar.
Yeah, look at this.
Isn't this great?
Oh wow.
This is pretty awesome. They don't build them like this anymore.
No, they surely don't. Down here you would find Oliver North's chair.
Oliver North.
Yeah, Ollie. I
Yep.
don't know which one it is, but it's down here somewhere.
Holy cow. Boy, this is... Joe Burgess is a born-again conservative. He was a liberal, and he actually was, his job was to infiltrate the Republican Railroad.
No kidding.
But while he was doing that, he realized he was making a big mistake by being a liberal. And it became a very solid hardcore.
And this is our pub that we open on Friday and Saturday nights.
Wow. And now you get on Friday and Saturday nights, it gets pretty busy around here?
Oh yeah. People travel from as far away as Cleveland and Pittsburgh to eat here.
Wow.
Every single weekend.
Well, I know. And how often, like, if I wanted to make reservations for my wife and I to come here on the weekend, how much time do you need?
Couple days.
Oh, okay. So, yeah. Wow. Well, we're going to do that.
And you can see our ceremonial picture of Hillary with my boss David.
Oh.
You can see he's going to take a swing at her.
Is that... Wait a minute.
It's a cardboard cutout.
Oh, okay, good. I was going to say, you know, I don't think she would...
She wouldn't stand still long enough. But I can promise he'd take a swing at her if he could. And his wife?
Oh my gosh. Cheney right here. This is so gorgeous. Look at this. Mantle. Oh my gosh.
You'll notice throughout the building,
Yeah.
there's chairs that have name tags on.
Uh-huh.
Somebody prominent and famous has sat there from, it could be, some of them, here's Dick Morris.
I'm getting a reflection, so I'm not able to see
From the
that.
light, but yeah. It's interesting. Almost every one of our chairs, someone famous has sat in. And then we not only, we get the nameplate made to say the date that they sat in it and who they were.
Wow. Now, I just kidding. I was going to ask, how old is this building
It was
itself?
built in 1837.
1837, the building.
Yes.
Oh, this is gorgeous. Wow. I get to get some of this twice here.
Oh yeah. You're gonna love it. There's when Vice President Quayle was here.
Wow. And how did you get tied into to working here? I heard you say that you've been here for 2 years.
Yeah, I've been a restaurant manager for, I don't know, 17 years.
Uh-huh.
And I managed corporate restaurants, Damon's and Quaker Steak and Lube. And a couple years ago, on Martin Luther King Day, I was cooking dinner for my family and I got a phone call. And it was the owner here, David. And he asked me, he said, I seen your resume on Monster. He goes, I'm looking for a manager. Are you still looking for a job? I said, well, sure, I'm always willing to listen to an opportunity. And he says, well, I own the Spread Eagle Tavern. And when I heard that, I thought it was a joke.
You already knew about the place?
No, I never even had heard of the place. And I just heard Spread Eagle Tavern. It doesn't sound like a restaurant.
Uh-huh. Sound like a bar.
And then he says, yeah, we're down on the Sandy and Beaver Canal.
Mm-hmm.
And then I really thought that somebody was pulling my leg because I had never heard of the Sandy and Beaver Canal. And I only lived 30 miles away. And so I came down, I interviewed. I'm a history buff. I love American history. I'm a very conservative person. by nature, and so this place was almost a dream job.
Wow.
And so when I got it, I dove in head first. I learned all the history I could about not only this building, but this town and this county, and everything I could about this place. And to be honest, every day is a joy to work here. I get to meet some of the greatest, most famous Americans around. And the great thing about it is I get to see them when they're not politicking. When I get to see the man or the woman, I get to see the person that they are and the character and integrity that they have. And I'll be honest, there's some that I've met that going into, I didn't have a very good opinion of. And some of them have very much so won me over to where no matter what they ever run for, I would be one of the people knocking on the door for them because they're that great a person. They have that much character and integrity. And that's what really matters to me. And of course I've met some I probably wouldn't necessarily vote for. But it doesn't make them bad people, they're just politicians. So.
Well, and now this part of Ohio, about this time that this tavern was built, it was free of slavery, isn't that right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. This town was a major stop on the Underground Railroad.
Okay.
And every building in this town played some small role. We hid slaves in our basement here. I can show you though, one of the major spots in the town that was from the Underground Railroad was actually this house here. That house was Dr. Robertson's house. And there's a room on the second floor that is completely secret to the rest of the building. There's no entrance in or out of that room from anywhere in the house. This house was one of the major spots for the Underground Railroad in this area. Because he had a room that was completely secret. No one could get into it unless you went through the window.
Oh, okay. And you needed a ladder for that.
You needed a ladder against the house to climb up and go through the window. And so all during the day, it was a safe place for the slaves to be. And he was a doctor. He could provide food and clothing and any kind of medical care they needed before they would they left here one of two ways. They either started a walk towards Salem, or they went down on the canal and got on a canal boat and headed east, or west rather, to the Sandy, or the Ohio and Erie Canal, where they went north to Lake Erie.
And ultimately, they were heading to, was it Canada?
For their freedom.
Yep, that's what I read.
See, a lot of folks don't realize, but the Republican Party was founded by men that were against slavery. That's what the roots of the Republican Party is before that, Lincoln was the first Republican president because the party before that was the Whigs. And they left the Whigs because they were against slavery. And the Whigs, it wasn't that they were for it, but they didn't care. It wasn't worth fighting over for them. But the Republicans stood up and said every man is created equal and they shouldn't be treated that way. And the Republicans get a bad rap nowadays for that. Now, this room right, that window.
Okay.
There's no way into that room except through that window or the window on this side.
Wow. Up here.
Yep.
Unbelievable. So, well, you would think that they'd be able to count on the outside,
but they wouldn't pay attention because they go up in there and it's a hallway. It doesn't even seem like there's anything there.
They seal it off.
Now, and then the other thing is his son-in-law lived across the street.
Okay.
His son-in-law had a tunnel that ran up underneath the street from his basement to Dr. Robertson's barn.
Oh my gosh, right here.
Yep. His barn used to be right there where that pole is.
This is this house is just amazing. That little it looked like a little gazebo in the back made of brick, you know?
Yeah. Well, his son-in-law George Sloan was a bricklayer.
Uh-huh.
He's actually the bricklayer that built these buildings.
Wow. This is unbelievable. Thank you so much.
Oh, truly my pleasure.
This is so gorgeous.
We're so very proud of our town and our history here. One of the things that's being lost in America.
Well, history for sure.
Yeah, we don't learn and appreciate our history, so we're destined to repeat it.
Well, I have nothing against immigrants, but when immigrants do come in, they don't have that history.
No, well,
and the melting pot kind of gets a little diluted when it comes to the history.
well, what happens is when people don't come here legally, they don't understand the struggle that so many generations of people have understood. And so they tend to not appreciate. It's like if you're given something, you don't appreciate it as much as if you worked for it.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Well, and our government right now seems to be giving so many handouts. I did get some shots of this at the when we first came up.
You can see the eagle up there, the spread eagle in
Yeah.
the 1837. That's when the building was built. Registered historic site. I'm great, Jane. How are you? Hi. Couple things. It says WR. WR is for Will Rhodes. He was the contractor that built the building. It also says in small up there, WR Hollis. He was the sculptor that cut all of the stone.
Wow.
But my boss, David Johnson, would tell you that WR stands for Welcome Republicans.
Oh.
This is the guy that bought the place. It's my boss's father, Pete Johnson Sr. And it's because of his vision and his dream and his passion that brought this place back to life.
Wow.
He was a great, great American. And they had plenty of political connections. If you take a look, here's him with President Reagan.
Oh, so he lived not long ago then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he died 4 years ago in November.
Okay.
And here's his wife, Jean. That's G. Gordon Liddy here.
Wow.
It's amazing to think all these super powerful and famous people all came to dine or stay here. Here's Mr. and Mrs. Johnson with Barbara Bush.
Was this like because this is kind of out of the way for us along the 30 and everything?
Once upon a time, this was a huge stop because of the canals. And also, the State Route 30 was the Lincoln Highway at one time. It was the first way across the country. So,
Lincoln Highway, okay.
Does that make more sense
Now
to
it
you?
does, totally.
This is our Taft dining room. It has one of my favorite paintings.
Oh, yeah. Now, is that Reagan in there?
Yeah, here, I'll show you. The name of the painting is Grand Old Gang. And you have Ford, Bush the Jr., Reagan, Bush the Sr., Lincoln,
Oh, wow.
Eisenhower, Ford, Nixon, and then Teddy Roosevelt.
Oh.
And they're actually playing poker at the Republican National Convention. And Abe's telling a story that he was known to tell, and every of the other presidents has eaten that up. It's one of my favorite pieces because when I was a kid, I always remember seeing the dogs playing poker. So I love that picture.
That is gorgeous. Oh my gosh.
There's china in here from different first ladies. It's from Bob Dole's leadership thing.
Mike, this is awesome, man.
Oh, you haven't even seen anything. Just wait, I'm telling you. The building is even older. This is actually not part of the original tavern.
Oh, is
This
that?
building was built in 1820.
1820.
1820.
And this looks like it was a kitchen or
This was
the
actually,
house itself?
The man that lived here was the town judge.
Okay.
And him and his wife lived upstairs, and this room was his courtroom.
Wow.
So anyone that went to jail or any land dispute was settled right in this room. But more important than that, anyone that was married right underneath this arch.
Oh my gosh, right
Isn't
there.
it cool?
Oh, look at that. Wow. How cool.
If they weren't members of the church and they were going to the justice of the peace, this is where they came.
Now, what are these documents on the wall?
Well, there's different ones over here. There's this here are shipping. These are shipping receipts for goods that were shipped on the Sandy and Beaver Canal. This here is actually a ledger from the investors of the Sandy and Beaver Canal. Over here is a newspaper article from the fire that happened in 1918 here in town and burnt down the downtown area.
Wow.
And this is actually a letter from the mayor of Zor that was trying to more or less proposition the commissioners of the Sandy and Beaver Canal. He tried to buy them to build the canal to Zor instead of to Bolivar because he knew it would help grow his town. And they made the deal, they took the money, and they built it to Bolivar anyways.
Oh, wow.
So some might say that that was the karma that ultimately did the canal in. Now as you walk up this way, they opened this wall up so you can see how a building is constructed in 1820.
Oh, I see.
And there's no nails. It's all wooden pins and dowel rods.
Yep, yep.
Now we have 9 dining rooms on 3 floors.
Oh.
This is our Marcus Hanna dining room. And there's a really wonderful story about Marcus I'll tell you on the tour.
Okay. This is gorgeous.
Isn't it cool?
Yeah.
It's more than you could ever imagine when you're standing outside.
9 of these on 3 floors.
Yes, 9 dining rooms. We seat 180 people.
And your chef looks like he knows what he's doing.
He's a wonderful chef. He's probably one of the most talented cooks I've ever worked with in 25 years.
Awesome. Holy cow.
Now we don't have any bad servers, but we do have a dumb waiter.
I see it. Ah, that's so cool. This is 5-star. This is awesome.
This is our McKinley dining room. And whenever we do have a fundraiser for a rather large person like Vice President Cheney or Vice President Quayle, Newt Gingrich, their dinner is held in this room. And so you would find their chairs in this room.
Oh, marked.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Right here's Vice President Dan Quayle's chair. He sat in this chair August 6, 1992. Over here, Vice President Cheney's. Right here's Vice President Cheney's. He sat in this chair March 20th, 2006. Now the interesting thing about the night he was here, there was an 8th grade student that his father, he was an aspiring politician, and he loved politics and American history.
And his father called my boss David and said, you know, what do I got to do to get my son in there to see the vice president? And David told him, well, if you're willing to make the contribution, I'll put your dog in the room. I don't care. It doesn't matter. It's all about the money. If you make the contribution, we'll get him in there. And so the guy made the contribution, which was $10,000 to sit in here and have dinner with the vice president. Well, that 8th grade student got to sit next to the vice president, and he was the only one that the vice president talked to.